Hey guys, how's it going? It hasn't been so long for you as it has for me since the last video I filmed was more than a month ago. I have just been really busy with work and family things, just lots of things going on, and haven't made a whole lot of progress on reading and definitely not any progress making videos. But now I should start to have a bit more free time. I'm about 3 books behind on my reading challenge right now, and most of the books I've read so far have been pretty short. So here are the books I've read since my last wrap-up video. I reread Emma by Jane Austen, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it much more than I did the first time, and a lot of that has to do with watching the Emma Approved series that Pemberley Digital made. It was still pretty long, and there was a lot of dialogue, and I wouldn't consider it a perfect book, but I am glad that I have reread it. After that, I read Miss Marvel by G. Willow Wilson. This is the first volume of this ongoing comic series, and having not read a lot of superhero comics, and by that I mean pretty much none at all, this was definitely new to me, though I enjoyed it and I am interested in continuing the series. I don't know if I will collect the whole thing in physical form, but I might at least read them through Kindle. Along those lines, the next one I read was the first volume of Lumberjanes. I've been a fan of Noelle Stevenson for a few years now. Follow her on Twitter and Tumblr, and I just really like what she does. And I love this comic series so much. This is all that I have read so far. I haven't read anything after this volume, so I'm really looking forward to receiving volume 2 in the mail, I think sometime in October. The next book I read was Very Good Lives by J.K. Rowling. I received this in the mail on my birthday, which you would know if you watched my most recent video, and it was a very quick, short read that I really enjoyed. The next book I read was Mouse Volume 2 by Art Spiegelman. I had read Volume 1 a year or two ago and just recently acquired Volume 2, and I was behind on my book challenge or something like that and decided to use this to further catch up since it is quite short. And of course this is a very good graphic novel series and I really recommend it. The next book that I read was Dragonfly and Amber by Diana Gabaldon. This is the second book in the Outlander series. I read the first book back in September and then watched the first half of season 1 on Stars, and am just about to finish up watching the second half of the season. So before I did finish the TV series, I wanted to read book 2 so that I wouldn't get spoiled just in case they decided to throw anything in from the second book. And I really enjoyed reading it. There were a few parts that I didn't enjoy as much, and those were more of the history parts where I didn't really have much background and it didn't really further the plot or the action. But overall, it's a very good story and I will definitely be continuing on with the series. The next book I read was The Fangirl's Guide to the Galaxy. This was sent to me by Quirk Books for review, and I really enjoyed it. It's just a really positive, pro-woman book about being a nerd and how to make it in the nerd world. It has a lot of recommendations about TV series and video games and online retailers and just all sorts of things that can really help you out if you want to know more about what it's like being a nerd and a girl, and a lot of good resources, whether it's going to a convention or standing up to trolls online. Plus, I really enjoyed all of the illustrations. They are all done by Kelly Basto, who is another artist that I follow on Twitter and Tumblr, and I really enjoy her stuff. And the last book that I have read by the end of May is The Phantom of Menace. This is the 4th book in the series of William Shakespeare's Star Wars, and it's an interpretation of episode 1, which I haven't seen as often as episodes 4, 5, and 6, so the story was a little bit more unfamiliar to me, but I did recall a lot of it from playing the Wii Lego version a few times. And I would definitely have to say this is my favorite cover so far, just really beautiful. And as always, this series is so fun and definitely worth checking out. There's a lot of humor thrown into this one, some movie quotes, some pop culture references, and just a lot of really clever stuff. As for what I'm currently reading, I'm still working on Uncle Tom's Cabin, but I've made a lot of progress. I'm about 80% done with it now, so I'm hoping to finish it within the next couple weeks, and then I can finally move on to another ebook since this one has taken me several months. And after finishing William Shakespeare's Star Wars, I haven't picked up another physical book, but I plan to start reading To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. This is, of course, because the second book in the series is coming out this month, and I haven't read this book since high school, and I know a lot of people really love it. So now that I'm older and I have a lot more reading experience, I definitely want to read it again, regardless of the fact that the sequel is coming out. And of course, a lot of other people are rereading it right now, but I don't have any plans to finish by a certain date. I'm not actually sure what I'll be reading after Uncle Tom's Cabin or after To Kill a Mockingbird, because I've been using a book jar this year and I'll be pulling names out of that to figure out what I read next. So I hope you guys have been doing well, and I'm going to try to put out videos more regularly now. I do have a few more videos planned coming up, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.